Let's get it going on the Lockdown Thunder live pod. I'm Rylan Stiles. With me, as always, is Derek Parker. Mondays and Thursdays, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Taking you through the Thunder, the NBA, and more, in addition to our 5-day a week daily pod. And after every single game, this is live on the Lockdown Thunder YouTube channel, 2 p.m. Central, Monday, Thursday, and then uploaded to your favorite podcast feed after the fact. Derek, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. We're now a week and some change into the NBA season, back like we never left. It's like the offseason didn't even happen. We got Dennis in here, we got Gavin in here. Wouldn't be the same without them. Let's get it going.
Let's get it going, Coach Dennis, Coach Gavin. We're ready to go. It's going to be an amazing time to talk Thunder basketball. And David mentions how J-Dub has not made his season debut yet, and yet here the Thunder sit. A perfect 3-0 on the year. Derek, we've seen this team play 2 double overtime contests to start their season, and then a nice, comfortable win against Atlanta. What's been your biggest takeaways from this 3-0 start?
Yeah, my top takeaway is that the Thunder are still top dogs in the NBA. Until proven otherwise, it hasn't happened yet. I think they've played some fairly capable teams. Houston hasn't gotten a win yet. I still expect that to be a pretty good basketball team. Atlanta was undermanned, still a good win there. And then obviously outlasting the Pacers in game 8. I think they're still obviously the best team in basketball. We haven't even seen them close to full health. I mean, it hasn't even been close. They've had multiple big players out of every single game. And yet undefeated, Shai's still cruising. Chet showing the leap we thought he could. Ajay Mitchell's been unbelievable. So business as usual for this Thunder team. I thought they showed some of the signs of a classic Thunder win against Atlanta. So Thunder's still top dogs, and they're only going to get healthier from here, one would think.
Yeah, I like that takeaway because it feels like business as usual in the sense of just how uncommon this team is. You know, like they need to get healthy, but they're still finding ways to win. They've had to play more in the half court to start this season than they're accustomed to. They've been down, 3 of the 5 best defenders in every game so far this season, and yet here they are, 3-0, battling through adversity and getting it done in some form or fashion. They've seen Shai step up, they've seen AJ step up, Chet step up. They've had contributions and gotten enough done throughout this time. My biggest takeaway is that the Thunder can still pile up the turnovers. Now they've got to execute off those turnovers. I will say it's a very small sample size. For example, they turned over Houston like 21 times last Tuesday. Houston, though, has an athletic team that is able to defend in transition very well. Indiana turns it over against OKC at a higher clip, but they're small. Like they play an exceptionally small lineup that had a lot of athletes to get back in transition. And then against Atlanta, things got back to normal. Atlanta let them play in transition all the time. They capitalized on those turnovers. Tonight, I expect the Thunder to have a lot of turnovers generated against Dallas with their shallow guard rotation. But the Thunder still there defensively, turning it over. And it just is a reminder that, this team's not going anywhere. This is still going to be the best defense in the NBA once we get to a more level sample size.
Yeah, my second takeaway would be that Shai is still a very capable engine. It's nothing new. We knew that Shai, obviously reigning MVP, one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world for some people. And he's going to be capable, to tie this back into my first takeaway, of helping this Thunder team to wins, even with Jalen Williams on the bench with the injury, even with Alex Caruso out, even if other players, if Chet Holmgren were to not play tonight due to the low back soreness, Shai is still that capable, that good at offense, that good at being a centrifugal piece that the Thunder are still going to win games. I mean, top dogs, whether they're healthy or not, Shai's going to be good enough. He has that much gravity, especially scoring the ball, to let guys like AJ thrive, to let guys like Aaron Wiggins thrive, to let guys like Lou Dort get open shots. So second takeaway, Shai has seen nothing new. I don't even think he's been necessarily to the level that we think he can get to, even still moving forward. Like, he's been so good. He's seen a new career high in game 2, 55 points. And I think he can still be better. As crazy as that sounds, could have played better against the Rockets, had a slow start, picked things up late. Great game. Against the Pacers, had some times at the end of regulation, at the end of the first overtime, where he wasn't necessarily making great decisions. Again, finishes with 55 points. Great game. Was it a special game? Was it like one of the best Shai games we've ever seen? I don't think so. And then obviously in the third game, he absolutely cruised against Atlanta, 30 points before the fourth. Really, really great in that game. But I think Shai can continue to get better. I think he's one of the best pieces in the NBA, not just for winning games in the regular season, but now he's proven that in the postseason as well.
And what's so fun about Shai's game Saturday against Atlanta, he obviously got the rest at the end of that game as the Thunder swell their lead up to 24 points and really ran away with this game. But like Atlanta in themselves is a bad defensive team, and they've played really bad through the first week of the season. But when it comes to defending Shai, they do have Dyson Daniels, they do have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and yet those guys just could not disrupt Shai. He was just shooting right over the top of them against good defense. Like they were blanketing Shai in that game, and it did not affect his efficiency. He shot 70% from the floor. He's just a marvelous player, and I think that Shai continues to dominate and will only continue to incline from here. My biggest takeaway, number 2, this team is still a streaky three-point shooting team. And perhaps there's going to get to a point in this season where we have to have a deeper conversation about how sustainable their streakiness is. However, I will say, as a part of that takeaway, they're generating open looks from three, and they're doing it in fashions that are better than what they did a year ago. Like they're getting these open threes, not just off drive and kick stuff. They're really setting up that three-point shot very well with movement shooters, floating around the arc to find passing windows with drive, jump stop, kick out, and kickouts off of offensive rebounds, kickoffs out of cuts instead of just simply drive and kick. So I think that that's impressive. And you have to wait and see because we've only seen one game of Caruso. Kaysen missed a game. Lou Dort hasn't had his hot streak yet. J-Dub hasn't played a single game yet, and that's another guy who adds to that three-point shooting team. So they're still streaky, but they are getting better in their opportunities. So where does that level off at once you have a full complement of players?
Yeah, I think the three-point shooting is certainly the biggest woe so far. They just haven't shot the ball well, and that dates back to the last postseason. I would expect it to get better. I think we're kind of in a Lou Dort lull. We've seen these for years. Like the pendulum is going to swing back around for a player like that. There's a few others that haven't shot particularly well. You would expect Shai's numbers to get a boost in this area. I think he's sitting around somewhere in the 20% range. That'll obviously get higher. So not too worried about the three-point shooting. Now, it is going to have to get better pretty significantly for you to feel like it's going to be real next postseason. But nothing to worry about too much, especially as they're sitting at 3-0. Can't argue with that. My final takeaway, Ajay Mitchell. I mean, how do you not talk about Ajay Mitchell and the season he's had so far through 3 games? He's a guy, like a dude. 18.7 points, 4.3 assists to just 0.3 turnovers. 1 turnover in 3 games, having played 27 minutes per game. That's pretty unbelievable. 4.3 assists, 4 rebounds. He's been unreal. He's shooting 47% from the field, 42% from 3. One could argue very easily, actually, that he has been the Thunder's 3rd best player. Shai, Chet, very close behind. He's had 2 monster games, sandwiched between one that he wasn't necessarily great. AJ's been killer. He's been awesome next to Shai. He's been awesome in the reserve as the backup point guard. He looks unbelievable. He closed the game versus the Pacers. He had 26 points, 4 assists. Played against Atlanta, didn't have the same scoring punch, but had 7 assists to 0 turnovers. Everything he's doing is extremely replicable. It seems like he is going to be this player moving forward. Now, is 19-4-4 going to hang around? Maybe not. But is the impact still going to be there when Jalen Williams gets back? I think so. Are they still going to be able to potentially close games with Ajay Mitchell, which would we have said that coming into the regular season? I don't think so. Yes, they are. Like there's going to be nights where maybe Caruso isn't having the absolute best defensive game. They're going to be able to close with an offensive-minded guard in Ajay Mitchell next to Dub, next to Shai. He can shoot it off ball. You can give him the ball, let him get to the rack. So he's been unreal. Cannot say enough good things about Ajay Mitchell.
Yeah, AJ has been awesome for this team, and that flows into my last takeaway from opening week. The Thunder have gotten better, and it's crazy to be able to say that with all of whom are on the bench. Like, you've seen J-Dub in street close the entire season, Isaiah Joe in street close the entire season. Kaysen missed that one game. Like, it's been in and out in terms of like your full rotation. You haven't even had it yet to start this season, and you can already see Chet's taken a step forward offensively. That's what we talked about all summer long. And, 2 of the 3 games, he's been incredible offensively. And that job of Chet gets easier whenever he's playing next to J-Dub and slid down to that number 3 scoring option. Ajay Mitchell, He's been awesome for this team. Everything you just said is 100% right, and you expect that to continue. And yet, when J-Dub returns, his life gets easier because he's going to play all of his minutes next to a guy who has immense scoring gravity, whether that be Shai or J-Dub, to either end first quarters or start second quarters or both for AJ Mitchell. And so that's very impressive, and that's going to help this team function better in the half court, like the one area that you could really poke at from a year ago in the playoffs. The one thing that had them going to 7 games in Denver, had them going to 7 games against Indiana, was their half-court offense. AJ makes that better. We talked about their shot quality. It's gotten better throughout these first 3 games than it was a year ago. That's a more functional part of their team that, as long as the shots fall eventually, you feel really good about. And then their defense remains a really good unit without having their best pieces yet. So it's all very encouraging for a team that just won a championship. And like we spent all summer long saying, hey, the reason why they're retaining 99% of this roster and really making no moves is because it's not the absence of getting better. It's because getting better is all internal for this team. And you've seen them already take those steps forward in the first week of the season.
Yeah, 100%. I think obviously the games haven't been sparkling. Like 2 double overtime games, you would prefer to have won those at an arm's length like they did in the Hawks. But the way in which they're doing it, a lot of half-court offense. They're not rolling out their entire defensive unit. They have an all-NBA player sitting on the bench right now, nursing the wrist injury. So, again, it ties back into my first takeaway, which is the Thunder are still top dogs in the NBA. Like, they are the best team in the NBA. They have the best roster. I think they have some of the best coaching. They just need to string things together, keep it afloat, which I don't know how we can say 3-0 is keeping it afloat, but keep it afloat until they get their guys back. I think they're going to be rocking and rolling, like you said, probably a better team this year, and rightfully so, because Denver's going to be knocking on the door. You know, I think Houston eventually gets to a point where they look fine. So they're going to have contenders in the West, but for now, the Thunder seem to be the team to beat.
Thunder 3-0, a lot of positives. What do you want to see the Thunder get better at as they enter week 2?
Ooh, are we moving on to our next points, or is this off the cuff?
Our next points. We have the outline.
Okay.
You've demanded outlines. You don't want to riff, so we've gotten outlines, and
I'm an outline guy.
You are an outline guy. I'm an improvisationalist.
First thing I wrote down, and I hyperlinked it. It looks beautiful in the outline, by the way.
Yeah,
Get out and transition more. You know, you had a stat on an earlier pod, OKC Dream Team, that the Thunder are playing like 97% of their offense in the half court right now. That's not the Thunder team that we saw last season. Right now, the Thunder are dead last in transition frequency. They need to get out in transition. That is the way they play. They're number 1 in points per possession. So when they do get out in transition, they're still the top team in the NBA at doing this. And that's mostly via the fact that this is pick sixes, pokes, hounding at the point of attack, and turning that into easy offense. But they're not doing it at the frequency with which they did it last year. I would expect that to ramp up, especially when guys like J-Dub get back, when Alex Caruso gets back, when Cason Wallace is more in the lineup consistently. But so far, it's been a lot of half-court offense. While that has been improving, it's certainly not their main strength. So I would like to see them get out in transition just a little bit more.
It'll be a lot of fun to see them in transition more. They're getting the turnovers. They've got to push the pace. Again, part of this, I think, is due to the transitional defense of Houston, of Indiana, being able to get back and force you to get into a half-court offense off of these turnovers, because it's not due to a lack of creating the turnovers, which typically leads to a higher frequency of transitional opportunities. My number one thing is, again, the three-pointers need to fall. I mean, they've shot 30%. The Thunder have 30% as a team on catch and shoot jumpers. They've got to get better at that. And partly it just is the nature of the beast. It's the validity of 3-point shooting. They're taking open shots. They're getting what they want. They eventually need to be rewarded for it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, again, they just need to make shots. I think my second point is shot quality. I don't think it's been amazing, but it hasn't been bad either. Was really, really good versus the Hawks. And I think ultimately that's what boils down to why the Thunder looked like such the same team as last year, where they had that third quarter avalanche and they kept the Hawks at arm's length, and they just looked like, for lack of a better word, the best team in the NBA, the best team in the world. I think a large part of that was simple shot quality. I think it was the best it's been so far. I think the other 2 games were meh, not bad, but not the best shots that they could have generated. And rightfully so. Again, they played a Pacers team that was absolutely on fire, a Rockets team that's going to be really, really good defensively. But I'm looking at shot quality moving forward. Not only do I think it helps the percentages, I think it helps absolutely everything. I think it's going to help you get back on defense faster. I think it's going to help the actual percentages, the ball going in. Feel like it makes offense smoother in general, gives guys confidence. So shot quality, something I'm looking forward to. Again, hasn't been terrible, but you would still like to see that improve, as I'm sure Mark Daignault would say, over the course of the next few weeks.
Yeah, and then mine would be finding the cutters more. I mean, they are right now points per possession ranking on Synergy, the 10th percentile team as a cutting unit, as a whole team throughout this regular season. They've only shot 23 times off of cuts, and that has to improve. And I think that it will improve whenever you mix in the playmaking leap that you've seen from AJ. You see Shai's playmaking ability, and then, of course, once Jalen Williams comes back, they've got to be able to find their cutters. Now, I will say, again, they're missing these guys, but they're also missing two critical parts. They played 3 games. One was missed by Kaysen, 2 were missed by Caruso. Those are 2 absolute play finishers for this team who benefit the most on cuts, Kaysen especially. So that does doctor the numbers a little bit on the small sample size, but getting back to their bread and butter of transition and then in the half court cutting, I think will be a big deal for them.
Yeah, my last thing that I want to see the Thunder do better and more consistently ties right in with that, and that's just move the ball. They rank 6th last in assists right now. Again, this stems from the fact that Jalen Williams is out, that Caruso and Kaysen Wallace have periodically been out, but the ball just isn't moving as much as it did last season. You know, the Thunder are traditionally a team that likes to rack up assists. They've been doing a lot more in the half court work. It's a lot harder to do, to garner these assists when it's a lot of Shai ISOs, sometimes AJ Mitchell ISOs, Chet Holmgren doing work. So I would like to see them just ball move more and pass with actual decisiveness more, pass to assist the ball. Again, 6th last in assists right now. That obviously won't hold. This is such a great passing team. It's such a high feel connective team. That number won't hold, but you want to see that improve over the course of the next few weeks, and especially tonight versus the Mavericks, because they're going to have their defense running around on a string, and you'd prefer to have that ball moving around a little bit.
I agree. And that kind of transitions into my last takeaway, which is their half-court offense. This is a great time for them to continue to try to develop their half-court offense and continue to get comfortable with it. I think that they've made strides. I think that they've taken steps forward in their half-court offense. I want to see them continue to refine that throughout this next week of basketball, which leads us to our weekly preview and our weekly predictions for this upcoming stretch of Thunder basketball, which includes their first back-to-back of the season. It includes, of course, their first time playing 3 games in 4 nights, a couple of home games. It'll be a lot of fun to be back in the Paycom Center, Derek. We've only been there for 1 game so far this year as they go for ring night and then jet out on a 3-game road trip, which ends tonight against Dallas. I'm excited to be back in the Paycom Center tomorrow with you, Derek.
Yeah, that makes the Thunder start to the season even more impressive, that they haven't had the buzz of the Paycom except for the opener, and that had its own challenges with the ring night. So you go and you get a double OT win in a feisty Indianapolis crowd. You go and beat the Hawks on the road. Maybe not the most impressive crowd of the road trip, but yeah, makes that 3-0 start to the season all the better.
It's going to be a lot of fun to see welcoming back Russell Westbrook on tomorrow's game against the Kings. It's going to be a lot of fun. Coming up, let's preview the week ahead for OKC. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Here talking about the Thunder on our weekly live show. You everydayers know we have a 5-day week show Monday through Friday, plus after every single game, plus these 2 live shows with Eric Parker at 2 p.m. Central Monday and Thursday, and new shows coming down the pipe as well in the next month or so. So stay tuned for that. So more and more and more content coming out for you all the time at Locked On Thunder. Derek, another week of Thunder basketball is upon us. It starts tonight against Dallas. So coming up this week, on the road for Dallas, and then Tuesday in the Paycom Center against Sacramento, then Washington and New Orleans to end the week. I want to go through some superlatives for this week. We'll do this every single Monday. What is the best game on the docket this week?
The record might not show it because the Mavericks have not been a good basketball team so far. And while I think the Pelicans have overperformed, while I think the Wizards have some fun players, Sacramento has some fun players, it's still going to be Dallas to me. I think that at the end of the season, when you look at this group of teams, I think Dallas will be the best of them. Again, they're 1-2. Offense has been extremely, extremely clunky, but you still got Anthony Davis. You still got Cooper Flagg, the number 1 pick in the draft. You still got Kyrie Irving coming back at some point. So I think, again, I look at this group and I think the Mavericks are going to be the best from it. So in my mind, this will be the toughest test of the week for the Thunder. It'll be a real proving point for the Mavericks. Like, they have had this bad start to the season. What a confidence boost and a morale boost it would be to go and beat the defending champs at home, have Cooper Flagg play well, have Anthony Davis kind of refine that MVP level play that we've seen him play in periods throughout the last several years. So Dallas Mavericks, best game in my opinion for the Thunder too, because they're going to be dealing with double bigs if the Mavericks decide to run it. They haven't necessarily done that a lot, but the Mavericks have some ways, as we saw in Fort Worth, you and I both, to mess up and muck up this Thunder system. And we'll see if that actually happens tonight.
And we'll see if the Mavericks are even fortunate enough to be able to deploy double bigs, period, with their injury report having the status of Lively and Gafford in deep question as they're doubtful for tonight's game. But we'll also see AD at the 5 in that case if those guys cannot play. I think that you're right in the sense of, basketball. In the sense of the game I'm most excited to go watch, it is the New Orleans Pelicans, because it's Zion Williamson. He's healthy. Just how do they handle, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Zion, those guys defensively defending OKC, and then just watching Zion play is always a treat. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit and say the Pelicans. But if you just wanted the best X's and O's basketball game, I think that you've won the superlative with Dallas.
The Pels have been really, really impressive. I'll get into it here in a little bit in another superlative, but have been a big fan of watching the Pelicans so far.
And then I wanted to throw in here the most boring game of the week. And for me, we have another differing answer here. For me, it's the Sacramento Kings. I'm just not interested in this Kings team, man. I don't like any other players. I don't like their coach. I don't like the systems that they run on offense or defense. I just think that this is a whole hum game. It'll be the second night of a back-to-back. And I'm just not into the Kings.
I think you contradict yourself a little bit with your next superlative, which is the only reason I switched mine up. And I said boring game is the Wizards. Now, I'm kind of flipping on your last superlative. This is not from a basketball perspective. Like, I like the Wizards. I think they have a really fun young team. But from a storylines, basketball, overarching perspective, I mean, surely the Thunder clobber them. It shouldn't be a close matchup. It's East versus West, and it's bottom of the East versus top of the West. From an actual basketball perspective, it's probably not going to be completely great, but from a draft evaluation standpoint, from the lens of the Wizards are where the Thunder were several years ago, that's fun. We love Trey Johnson. We love Alex Sarr, Koulibaly and the gang, but not the most fun X's and O's on court game I'm looking forward to this week.
Yeah, I couldn't do that to my Wiz kids. I could not do that to my young Wizards, who I am so eager to watch. And so for me, this is selfish. It's not going to be boring to watch Washington. Now, in terms of could the game get out of hand and then it becomes boring? If you're only caring about the Thunder, yes. But I do care about the Washington Wizards and their young core. So they avoided my disdain on the most boring game. My biggest storyline is the contradiction. It's Russell Westbrook returning for those Kings. However, this is not a storyline about basketball. I just want to see Russ check back into the Paycom Center. They booed him for the first time ever during that Denver series. And then kind of the crowd will give him a standing ovation and just make it known firsthand that hey, that was a playoff thing, and that was not a Russ thing. He's going to get a lot of applause in what is going to be one of the final few times he plays in the Paycom Center, probably.
I agree. Out of just wanting to be different, I went with a different storyline, but it's obviously that. I mean, the return of Russ for Oklahoma City is always going to have so many eyes on it, so much attention, rightfully so. He did unbelievable things both on and off the court. Dennis, I have not been shy about liking the Wizards' young core, but I've also not been shy about saying I do think they are the worst team in basketball. Hasn't been proven so far.
Compared to the Brooklyn Nets.
Hasn't been proven so far.
It's just so ridiculous, dude.
But I will say I think they've outplayed their talent level a little bit so far. I really believe that. But I like what they're doing. Again, I've told you this, Rylan. It's not like I like the Nets' young core more. I would take what the Wizards are doing as an organization every day of the week over Brooklyn. I just think Brooklyn has actual veterans that will translate to wins both in the early and late part of the season. Anyway, what's next? Am I doing
I did distract you. Do your best storyline again.
My best storyline, again, I went different. It's obviously Russ, but I went with, are the Mavericks legit? They've had a real rough start, as I touched on. We could see whether that was just a rough 0-2 stretch and they bounce back with 2 wins the other night versus Toronto, tonight versus OKC, or if the Thunder go out and absolutely dismantle this Mavericks team in embarrassing fashion, really put their half-court woes on display, just thrash them, then we could be looking at, are the Mavericks destined to go to the playoffs? Are they destined to do this thing with Cooper Flag as point guard, whatever they're trying? So I'm looking at the Mavericks. I think this is a really big game for them. I think if they come out and they don't show any sort of fire, any sort of will to win here, then things are going to get bad. And if they come out and if they play a really good game, even if they win or lose, then I won't be as worried. But I've got my side eye on the Dallas Mavericks certainly tonight.
I like that storyline, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, especially now that it looks as though the impetus for Jason Kidd is to go away from having Cooper Flag be the point guard, which did not work out in their first couple of games. Yesterday against Toronto, they went back to D'Lo, and surprise, surprise, having an actual point guard out there did work and make them a bit better and more functional offensively. How does D'Lo handle this Thunder defense, though? And the point of attack defenders that they can put on him is going to be a big storyline. But if they can somehow navigate this, then you do feel a lot better about Dallas's chances moving forward to stay afloat and kind of buy time and get to the postseason once Kyrie returns somewhere around March or so, hopefully for Kyrie and hopefully for the Mavericks. But this next superlative, what's the nerdy basketball thing you're watching? This is like in the weeds. It probably doesn't really matter, but we're just interested in it. Mine is going to be how Chet handles tonight if he plays. He's questionable right now with lower back soreness. He was questionable heading into Saturday as well, though. If he plays, how does he handle offensively the different bodies that Dallas can throw at him? Like they can play up underneath him with PJ Washington or even Cooper Flag up underneath him, getting into his body and leveraging themselves whenever he's on the ball. They could also just play him straight up, though, and have Anthony Davis go out on an island against him. Can Chet attack that matchup either by going off the bounce for a step back 3 like you saw him hit in Atlanta or trying to get to the rim on AD? Just how does Chet continue to build on an impressive opening week offensively against all the different coverages that Dallas can throw at him? And in likelihood, Dallas will throw these different coverages at him throughout the course of each possession. So like, how does he handle that?
I really like this one. And I think so far, Chet hasn't seen these types of matchups. Like the Rockets maybe had a little bit more to throw at him, but the Pacers were both undermanned and undersized. The Hawks were the exact same way. They did not have Kristaps Porzingis. Even if he would have been matched up with Hart, there would have been times where KP would have been on Chet. So Chet, while he has seen 2 really good games out of 3, has not dealt with the level of defensive intensity that Dallas can bring. And I say that because not only you talked about the injury report, they might not even be on the court, but they also might not even bring the defensive intensity, AD, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, that we know that they can bring, which is a problem for Dallas in itself. But really fun storyline there. I think Chet handles it well. Again, we talk about this leap all offseason. He's shown it in 2 of the 3 games. I would expect him to keep it up. I think he'll shoot the ball well. I think he'll do nice things on ball. I think he'll continue to be the player that he started out in this season. My nerdy basketball watch is the Pelicans. You touched on him. Zion Williamson's awesome. They have really fun veterans in Herb Jones. Trey Murphy's getting up there, a really fun player. But they're rookies. Jeremiah Fears, Oklahoma shoutout, and Derek Queen have been really good. And they've gotten a lot of burn, which I didn't expect. Maybe it's a little bit of backlash from the fact that they got torched for their 2025 draft. Not necessarily in drafting the players, but the way that they did it, trading that unprotected 2026 pick, and drafting a couple of what many believe to be more developmental type projects on a team that was seemingly wanting to win games in the West. I really like the fact that they just kind of trial by fire Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen. And I really like the fact that both of these players have held up well despite that. Jeremiah Fears, through Summer League preseason and now the NBA regular season, has been awesome. Like truly a top 5 rookie so far. And he was drafted at 7, so those expectations may have been there. He's been unbelievable. He can get downhill. He is suave. He's smooth. I think he's going to be able to shoot the ball. And then Karam just said it. Derek Queen was really, really good against San Antonio. He missed a lot of the preseason with injury. I believe he missed the opener with injury. Maybe they just sat him. He's been really good, better than I expected, especially against San Antonio, who has length in Victor Wembanyama and Luke Cornett. That's what I thought Derek Queen would struggle with early, considering he's not the most athletic prospect. He's prone to some defensive lapses. He was good, great on offense, got to the line, scored on the interior. So nerdy basketball fan in me loving what the Pelicans are doing so far.
I like that a lot. And I think that when you look at this next superlative, it kind of lingers into some of the stuff you were just talking about in terms of like interesting young players. The most interesting opposing player for me, I'm going to go, since I'm not going to cheat and not going to say the whole Wizards young core, I'll narrow it down to Keyshawn George, who's had an excellent start to this year offensively, this being his toughest test in OKC in the Paycom Center against this Thunder defense. If he can still find ways to score the basketball right now and put the pumpkin in the patch as we near Halloween, then you feel excellent about his long-term development as a go-to guy for Washington.
Yeah, 100%. He's been awesome. And the best thing about him, he can guard. You can go throw him on the best available player. He's legit. I would expect the scoring to continue. You've got another guy on here on the outline. Per the outline, are you going to talk about him? This is my guy.
Oh, about Trey Johnson?
Yeah,
I mean,
I need some Trey Johnson thoughts.
I didn't want to cheat, but I do think that Trey Johnson, they're kind of slow playing him a little bit, bringing him off the bench, being more cautious with him, not throwing him right into the fire. I think that that's a good move. And I think it's especially a good move by Brian Keefe against Oklahoma City, because if they're still down, Caruso, for example, is in concussion protocol. There's no timeline to get out of concussion protocol. It's just whenever you pass the test. So if they're still down Caruso, and of course, if they're still down J-Dub, and that takes away two of their better defenders, that secondary unit, if you put Trey Johnson in there, it just lets him be set up for success a little bit more. Like this Thunder team still has great defenders, but obviously without the depth at the top of their defense, it sets him up for a little bit more success against OKC if they continue to slow play him. But he's been a fun watch so far.
100%. Just a small pat on the back for me. I was a big Trey Johnson guy through 3 games, 17 points per game on 47% shooting, 43% shooting from beyond the arc. He's been consistent. 16 in the opener, 17 versus Dallas, 18 versus Charlotte. So if that continues, we could be seeing a 20-point game from Mr. Trey Johnson. He's been really, really fun. I wouldn't expect that number to continue, but I did write a preseason article on Trey Johnson. Could he lead the Wizards in scoring? I wouldn't bet on it, but I thought he'd be closer than others would think. And then what is our last superlative here? Do we have one more? 2 more.
We have a couple more. You still have to give us your Cooper Flag take, but we've kind of already talked Cooper Flag. I will say breaking news. First and foremost, breaking news, Chet Holmgren is going to play tonight in Dallas. So he has been upgraded to available. Secondly, Shai was nominated for Player of the Week in the Western Conference. Of course, Victor Wembanyama won the award for this week, which is deservingly so, but Shai was nominated to start the season for the Player of the Week honor. Now, do you still want to talk Cooper Flag even more as your most interesting opposing player to watch?
Sure. I think Cooper Flag, just for me personally, I don't think this is necessarily from like a Thunder perspective. They're probably not like scheming for a rookie more than they are like some of the Kings players or Anthony Davis. But for me, I want to see how Cooper Flag responds to what very well could be the best defense he ever sees, depending on the personnel that's out there. Chet Holmgren is a go. That's a huge boost for that. So he obviously struggled with the length of Victor Wembanyama hanging around the paint. Chet probably isn't the same level of rim protector that Wemby was, at least in the opener. Like he was unbelievable, deterring everything. But I want to see how Cooper Flag holds up against this Thunder defense. He probably in his basketball career has never seen anything like it. So really excited to see how he fares. He's had a couple good games in a row. He hasn't had a bad start to the season. The opener wasn't phenomenal, but I think he went for like 22, 8, and 5 last night in a win over the Toronto Raptors. So excited to watch Cooper Flag versus the Thunder. I can't hear you, buddy.
We're going to end our superlative segment with our record prediction and our storyline to watch at the end of the week. What we think will be the biggest talking point next Monday on this show. So that's two things to watch as we end this segment. We're also going to take some questions from the coaches in the chat if you have any. So drop them below and we'll get to them after we do our record prediction and storyline to watch. Derek, the Thunder play, as a refresher, Dallas, Sacramento, Washington, New Orleans. What's your record prediction at the end of this week?
I wanted to say 3-1 just because you got to throw a loss in there somewhere. Like at some point, a team is going to sneak up on the Thunder and beat them. I thought about it hard. I don't think it's any of these teams. I think they go 4-0. I'm not necessarily worried about like Kings, Pels, Wizards, especially. The Mavericks could. I don't think they've been good enough either. So I'm going to go with 4-0.
That's bold, I believe. It's just hard to go undefeated over and over and over again. The Thunder did it last year, starting out red hot. They didn't have their first loss till game 10, something like that in the season. This is an easier setup. There is a back-to-back involved, the travel back-to-back, no less. So that makes things more difficult. They are shorthanded right now. So that makes things more difficult. As a reminder, they were shorthanded last year as well. At this time of the year, whenever Isaiah Hartenstein was in street clothes, Jay Whale, Kendrick was in street clothes as well. So they've been shorthanded before and still navigated it really well. I'm going to go more conservative and go 3-1. The problem with my prediction, though, is it truly is my worst kind of prediction to make because it's not as though I have a definitive reason why I'm doing 3-1, other than the odds say you're going to drop a game in basketball. But it's like, do I really think they're going to lose to the Mavericks or to the Kings or to the Wizards or the Pelicans? No. But surely they're going to have a drop maybe on the second half of back-to-back or something. I'm going to say that the loss comes against Sacramento tomorrow on the second night of a back-to-back. Chet's been questionable for 2 straight games with back soreness. If for some reason he's questionable again tomorrow and he can't play because it is a back-to-back, then life gets even tougher and you're leaning on Brandon Carlson, who could be enough against Sacramento. But I'm going to say that they drop Sacramento and don't lose again this week.
I like this question from Dennis. I predicted them 4-0. That would mean 7-0. When do you predict the Thunder's first loss of the season is? Assuming they go 4-0 in this stretch, they would play LA. I think they beat LA. Shai likes to get up for LA. We know that. I think they probably beat
he's confirmed that in the starting 5 series.
Yes, which is in direct contradiction to questions he's been asked from us in press.
Literally.
By the way.
Shai, you couldn't have given us that soundbite? Come on, man.
I think Portland. I think Portland's gritty. I don't know that the Thunder...
On my birthday? They're losing on my birthday. How about that?
A Rizzy Rye birthday loss, November 5th, back-to-back road trip, second night of a back-to-back versus Portland. Really tough defensive team. I predict that to be the first loss. But going, 8-0 before then? Pretty good.
Yeah, so my first loss for the Thunder is Sacramento. Your first loss for the Thunder is November 5th against the Portland Trail Blazers on the second night of a back-to-back. So we have that in common. It's like we're not even explicitly saying they're going to lose outright to these teams. It's just, hey, it's a back-to-back, sort of a schedule loss, if you will, for the NBA. So, Derek, what do you predict will be the storyline that we will be leading this live stream with on Monday after this week of basketball?
I think, and again, we've talked about this so much. It's so exciting to actually, in a week or so, we will probably know. I think it's going to be Chet Holmgren's emergence. It's one thing to do it through the first 3 games of the season. It's another to do it over the course of several weeks across several different matchups against Anthony Davis, against Domantas Sabonis, things like that. If Chet Holmgren can keep up his same level of production, I think we're going to be talking about him in a superstar-esque light. I don't know if necessarily superstar, but at minimum all-star. Shai's running mate, an awesome offensive player, took the leap that we expected all offseason. So I would expect a week from now, Chet is continuing to keep up this production, and we're talking about him in great light.
I like that prediction. I hope that prediction comes true because we've been banking on a Chet breakout all summer long. So to be vindicated would be a lot of fun after this week of basketball. And like you mentioned, it'd be more impressive because, he's playing tonight against Dallas. We've talked about the, defensive matchups that the Dallas Mavericks can throw at him to try to throw him off rhythm. And he's a very rhythmic player. So that's going to be very interesting to see. You have matchups with the Kings coming up and then the Wizards and Pelicans who have varying degrees of front courts. But I like that prediction. My prediction is going to be that by the end of this week, we're having the questions. are the Thunder back from beyond the arc? I think that it's going to be a blistering week from three. Like they're going to be red hot from three. They're going to get all the variants to go in their direction, and people who have overreacted on one side will now start to overreact on the other. And the truth will be they're just a streaky team.
I would hope that's correct, but we'll see.
We will see. We will see indeed. Continuing here with the coaches' questions. Coach David asked, do you think that the Thunder trade for Russ? No.
Nope. I agree. Nope. Not much more on that.
The Russ thing is just, it's just
they could have signed him if they wanted. They could have signed him outright a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that's just not. It's just not there. Q-Tip asks, with the emergence of Mitchell, who do you guys think gets their minutes cut once everyone is healthy? Well, the beautiful thing for the Thunder standpoint in the regular season is that they have a head coach who plays 11 to 12 guys a night. So it's like, you're not going to see a dramatic change in minutes throughout the regular season. This is a more interesting question for the postseason, which goes back to my summertime bold take of the Thunder having Ajay Mitchell in the top 8 of their rotation in the postseason. And at that time, whenever you do start to whittle your rotation down and you do start to play longer stretches with lineups that you really love, I would see Isaiah Joe being a guy who sees his minutes continue to diminish in the postseason unless he just fixes everything as a shooter this season in terms of like the higher volume of three and the ability to get it off even against tight coverages. So I would say right now, like, who you're going to notice it the most from come playoff time would be Isaiah Joe, would be perhaps Aaron Wiggins takes a smaller step back because you play bigger lineups in the sense of, if you really just want to go all in on double bigs and you want to play Jay a little bit more in the playoffs, and then you don't have the space for needing a power forward, and then AJ just does better guard stuff, perhaps Wiggins. But I think that it'll be a collective cut versus like one particular player because the Thunder play so many guys.
Yeah, I 100% agree. In the regular season especially, you're just not going to see like one player's minutes diminish. That's just not how Coach Daignault and this Thunder staff operate. In the postseason, I fully agree. I think they'll ride the hot hand, and I think more often than not, AJ Mitchell is going to be not only that hot hand, but the steadiest hand. Like, he's not going to turn the ball over. He's going to shoot efficiently more than likely. I could see, like you touched on, Joe. I could see those minutes dwindling. I could see Aaron Wiggins. I could see them riding with AJ Mitchell, even when, Aaron Wiggins versus the Pacers was frying, and he eventually came back in and won them that game with some big shots. They were still using AJ Mitchell to close the end of regulation in the first OT. So I agree with all your sentiments.
And then Coach David asks again, who is your favorite prospect heading into the college basketball season? Derek, you're the draft guy. You have a lot of draft content at Derek-Parker on YouTube. We also just recorded a draft show for the OKC Dream Team Patreon podcast. So you can subscribe to the draft tier to hear more about this. But I want you to answer this question twofold. Who is your favorite prospect, just period, like as a draft evaluation guy? And then more realistically, a draft prospect for the Thunder. Because, for example, like if you go with AJ or DP, with Kansas and BYU, they're not realistic Thunder targets. Like, who's your like favorite draft prospect, period, and then your favorite draft prospect that could be in the Thunder's range, a varying range that could be mid-lottery to late first round?
I'm going to answer this question threefold. So the prospect I think is the best right now that most NBA decision makers and NBA draft experts think is going to go number one is Darren Peterson out of Kansas. He is so polished. He's going to play the ant role where he's mostly going to be an off-ball guard, an off-ball wing, but you can give him the ball if you need to. He's going to be phenomenal with the ball in hand, getting downhill. He is that good. He's unbelievable. My favorite, though, is AJ Bonsa. I have never seen a player with this level of explosiveness at 6'9", his first step, his burst, his agility, all the buzzwords, he's got it. He pops off the screen to me, and that's not to say that Darren Peterson isn't really fun to watch. Bonsa is just kind of different for me. Like he's wing. I think it's a wings league still, so he'll be my favorite watch. I think he's just going to have the better highlights. And then for the Thunder specifically, really tough because right now we're still mostly working with high school tape, but I would point to North Carolina's Caleb Wilson. Played really, really good the other night in one of his exhibitions, went for 22 points against AJ Bonsa and BYU, but he's going to be one of the better defenders, not just among true freshmen, but in the country. He's 6'9", plays a really Thunder level of defense. I think he's got some kind of feel for the game to him. So Caleb Wilson, North Carolina, he might be too good to be a Thunder pick because I think they're going to be in the 15 to 30 range. But if his offensive stats aren't phenomenal in year one, they could certainly nab him in that range.
Coach Curtis asks, which NBA player not on the Thunder has impressed you the most so far this season? He leaves Wemby as an option. I'm going to say Wemby. Wemby's been spectacular.
Luka would also be up there for me. He's been unreal. Exactly what the Lakers need him to be, especially without LeBron James. And then just want to give a quick shout out to Austin Reeves. 51 points is nuts. He's playing for a max contract. He is fourth through 3 games, which not every team has played 3 games. He's fourth in the NBA in scoring right now, which is bonkers.
He's been awesome, but Wemby, like, he's just doing things that we've never really seen someone do ever, especially at his size. I mean, throughout these 3 games, the Spurs are 3-0. He's averaging 33 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, and 6 blocks per game. For Wemby, just the volleyball spike blocks, that getting 3 blocks in one possession, just ultimately deterring possessions. He's just been awesome. And so, like, Wemby's been awesome. And he's my favorite player to watch so far this season. Coach Dennis asks, could the Thunder have a finalist in every award this year? MVP, D-Boy, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved Player, 6th Man of the Year, and Clutch Player of the Year? No, because it depends what your version of finalist is. Obviously, like, could they see a vote for most of these awards? Yes, of course. But like Topic, for example, I don't think he's going to get Rookie of the Year votes. I mean, he's not going to start a season until at best mid-November. And even then, it's like we're still struggling to figure out his role. Whereas you've already seen Cooper Flagg, you've already seen Ace Bailey have some moments. You've already seen Dylan Harper have moments. You've already seen all these rookies start to Trey Johnson, like all these rookies start to have positive momentum. And you only get to vote for 3 different guys on each individual ballot, and the likelihood that Topic finds his way onto a ballot for Rookie of the Year is slim. But finalists, if you're going to go by the NBA's definition, they typically release the finalists and then they release the winner, and their finalists is usually top 3 that they let you see in terms of, like, once the votes are counted. That's a harder bar to clear than if you do like who just receives a vote. If you go who receives a vote, I think the Thunder get a vote for everything but Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, Rookie of the Year is far and away going to be the toughest, just considering that it is Nikola Topic, and his biggest competition right now is 6th Man of the Year, potentially AJ Mitchell. The question being, could they? Sure, they could. Is it likely? Absolutely not.
Yep, I totally agree. Coach K says the Pistons are his team to watch. How about them Pistons? Asar Thompson's been awesome this season. I agree. He's gotten it going offensively. Like, Asar Thompson might have some all-star juice.
Yeah, I mean, it was hilarious that we pick Amen Thompson to be the MIP, and we just crown him as the second coming before the season even starts, and we forget that he's got a biological twin over here doing the same things, getting more opportunity for a good Detroit team that beat Amen Thompson and the Rockets. So yeah, shout out Azar. He's been really, really good.
Do you agree with Coach Q-Tip that the Spurs would be a giant headache if the Thunder faced them in the first round of the playoffs?
They're going to be a gigantic headache for everyone in the first round of the playoffs. And I'll say this, they're going to be a gigantic headache for anyone in the second round of the playoffs too, because they could easily...
You got them winning a first round series?
I don't know if I do or not, like predictions wise, but they could very easily go win a playoff series, dude. They're so good.
Should we take a little Lockdown Thunder Live road trip? Listen to this. December 22nd, they play at home against Memphis, the Thunder do. We're going to automatically be there. We go to every home game. But December 23rd, back-to-back, they go down to San Antone. Is anybody going to San Antone? 1100 Springs, a little action there. A little Charlie Pride. We go to San Antone. Off day Christmas Eve, come back here for Christmas in the Paycom Center and see them play the Spurs again. Should we do it?
I don't know. Are we going to see a repeat of your? Yeah, I have. Are we going to see a repeat of your San Antonio performance from last time? Am I going to have to get mad at you?
Yeah, that almost did ruin our friendship. The trip to San Antonio. No. That was Joel Lorenzi's fault, to be completely honest. And I think that you've relinquished the ability to be mad at that after I drove us to and fro Nolans, to and fro Memphis, to and fro Denver, to and fro Minnesota. to and fro Indiana. Got a speeding ticket, no big deal. But
who? Listen, it is relinquished. I don't care. That was just a joke. I also pitched in. I helped on all those road trips.
You pitched in a little bit. I will say, I did a couple Ironman streaks though. Last year I did the Ironman to New Orleans. You helped us out on the Dallas trip because I hate driving in Dallas traffic. It's just the worst thing ever in the world. Yep. Dallas sucks. But dude, if we should go to San Antonio for that baseball style series. It's the only baseball style series of the season for the Thunder, and it happens to be leading into their biggest game of the regular season at home Christmas Day against San Antonio. It'll be a lot of fun to be there. I cannot wait for those games. But I do think that the Spurs, headache is the right word to put it. It'll be a headache. Could they beat the Thunder in a 7-game series? No, they're not going to beat the Thunder in a 7-game playoff series. I will definitively say that today. I think that it will be like a 5-game series, but the point differential is like 1 point, and it's the closest it can be. And the Thunder still win, but the Spurs make life challenging. So I'm really interested to see the Thunder and Spurs match up together. Coach, bring back Woj. When does OKC stop receiving so much hate? Never. I mean, think about this isn't even a poor, pitiful, small market thing. Think about how you felt about the Golden State Warriors. Think about how you felt about the Los Angeles Lakers. Think about how you felt about all these dynasties in the NBA. If they're not your team, you hate them. And that's just what it is. And you're just going to get hate. The Chiefs were a nothing franchise. When Brody Croyle was in town, when Brady Quinn was in town, nobody cared about the Chiefs. I mean, Jamal Charles is pretty good. That's it. Larry Johnson's pretty good. Priest Holmes is pretty good. That's all that people ever said about the Chiefs. Now, all of a sudden, the refs are on their side. They're just cheating for little Kansas City, and the Chiefs are so annoying, and I hate Travis Kelce, and I hate Patrick Mahomes, and they're on all these commercials. It's the same thing. You go from nothing to hate it overnight whenever your team is so dominant. And, having already experienced that with my Chiefs, like you can see it with the Thunder. It is what it is. Like, you will not stop receiving hate until the Thunder are not good anymore. And you don't want the Thunder to not be good anymore. So you take the heat, you take the hate.
Agree. Yep. Not going to stop.
It'll never stop. It'll never, ever stop. Again, this happens also, like, if you want to talk Shai in particular, this happens also to players. Like when James Harden was lighting up the league, everyone hated him. Everyone called him a free throw merchant. And now we look back on that run of James Harden fondly. Russell Westbrook was a stat patter and he got triple doubles. And now we look back on that and say, well, like Russ got to average a triple double and for 3 straight years and how incredible he was. And like, it's just in the moment, people are not going to like it. So it just is what it is. Derek, we've kind of touched on our NBA storylines. We talked about Wemby. We've talked about the Rockets being underwhelming, I should say. Are the Celtics cooked at 0-3? Are you out on them as 2 guys who had them still making the postseason?
I'm not out on them just yet. They have played some tough teams. Your Philadelphia 76ers in the opener. I mean, PJ, how are you going to overcome 34 points from a rookie? I'm not out just yet, but I think you're seeing just how easy it could be for a team like this to pivot to the draft, which again is why I point to the Heat, who've been really good, by the way, the Grizzlies, the Pelicans. I think these teams could pivot. And the Celtics, obviously, having had a down year without Jason Tatum, they lost Drew, they lost Kristaps Porzingis. You can see just how easy it would be for a team like this to pull a lever, go get a top pick for a year. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to be this bad, but you're looking at what the Celtics are going to do this year. Do you want to keep up your, we have winning culture, we can go get the 6th seed with just Jaylen Brown? Or do you want to go get Darren Peterson potentially? So I'm not out just yet. I don't think they're cooked, but not a great start and could potentially be a lottery team quite easily if they wanted to be.
I completely agree. I want to see the Celtics honestly pull the plug on this season and just tank and lose games and like just get the top pick and have a lot of fun of just like, now you have this top pick, you have Tatum, you have Brown, you have these guys in Boston, Bill Simmons is going nuts, but I don't know if it's in them to like actually tank. So we'll see what direction they choose to go.
You're a sicko for that. It's so typical. You want the Mavericks to get the top pick, the Celtics to get the top pick. Can the Charlotte Hornets get the top pick once?
No, nothing. Can the Wizards in Charlotte?
Can the Nets? Can a team that's actually bad just get the top pick? I'm tired of these guys going to big markets.
Okay, fair enough. Now let's end it with 2 more. You put down the Bulls. Talk to me about your Bulls.
I saw some comments about the Bulls. Undefeated, 2-0. They're kind of fun. And they're not a great basketball team, but they play hard. They've got fun players. Josh Giddey, I believe it was you that said he could have an all-star bid in his future, right? Did we say that?
I did say that. I think that he's going to make the All-Star team this year because of how they're doing it. First of all, because the East is weak, and then second of all, because the international versus American stuff. And I think that he'll be an All-Star.
Yeah. Regardless, I mean, great call there. I fully agree. The East is weak. They're still winning games. They play a really fun brand of basketball. They love to get out in transition. Modest Buzelis, super fun. Of all the players that should win Most Improved, he should be way up there. I think he's going to have a really nice season. I think he's actually added the most to his game relative to these other guys that everybody knew Amen Thompson would be good. Everybody knew that Benedict Mathurin would take over for the production of Hallie, but not a lot of people pre-draft especially, and even after he got taken by the Bulls, expected Modest Buzelis to be this good, this fast. So they're really fun. Keeping, again, just another little side eye on the Bulls because they play a fun brand of basketball.
You talk about sickos. Coach Ian is already dreaming of a Celtics Bulls first round series. I don't even know how this would happen, like how both teams would match up in the first round. But who would you pick, Celtics or Bulls in the first round?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to go Celtics just based off experience. I mean, Jaylen Brown's a finals MVP. That's got to be good for something. Now, who do I want to win? Bulls, for sure.
You're rooting for them Bulls. A big market, Derek, they have always called you. My last one, what do you make of the Lakers? Bad opener that made me repent for my DeAndre Ayton take, but then they looked really good in the second game, and they handily beat the Timberwolves, and then Luka's injured. But then you get a 50-point night from Austin Reeves, so it's like this roller coaster. They've played 3 games, and it's been the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and now you have Luka out for at least a week. You have LeBron still out, but they are carrying the load. Ayton getting a little bit better in the last 2 games compared to the opener. Like, where are you at in the Lakers?
They're exactly what I thought they were, in that they have talent. Like, there is no denying that guys like Luka, LeBron, Austin Reeves, DeAndre Ayton, and more are talented. They're just not a well-built team. Like, they're not built around Luka, their best player. They don't have the exact shooters that he needs, the defense they need around him. DeAndre Ayton is spotty. Like, yes, he's going to have nights where he looks like a completely different player. He's also going to have nights where he looks like classic DeAndre Ayton. So just too up and down. I don't think the defense is good enough. Again, a lot of talent. Luka's awesome. He's been maybe the most impressive non-Shai, non-Wemby player in the league, but just not well built, I guess.
Let's do a couple more questions and get into our text and get out of here for this Monday live stream. This question comes from our coach over here, Can AR-15, Austin Reeves. Make sure we're careful around gun violence topics. Austin Reeves, can he make the All-Star game? It sounds funny on the surface, but it's like he plays for the Lakers. He's gonna have the fan vote. If the Lakers are a top 6 team in this West, by the time you get to the All-Star voting stuff, it means that Austin Reeves has been shouldering an offensive load that of an All-Star. Because right now he's got to do it without Luka, and then he'll still have to do it without LeBron if Luka does come back in simply 1 week. Which for Luka, the reevaluation dates have not always meant return dates for Luka Doncic. So I think that he could make the All-Star team. Yeah, your question is just, can he? I think he can. I don't think it's out of the question.
I agree. Is it probable? No. But, I mean, to your point, there's the fan vote. There's narratives. Like, if the Lakers are sitting at the 5 seed, which would be a major win in my mind around February, sure, yeah. He's one of their better players, so...
just to be clear, I was just messing with you, Coach. I was just making a bad joke there. The last question, though, from Coach Dennis, Derek and Rylan, addressing us as our namesakes. It's Halloween week. What's the greatest candy out there? There is a right answer to this, I think.
Are you, listen, let's break it down first. Are you chocolate or are you whatever the, like, sweets, the other side?
I think they're both particularly sweet, but I get what you're saying. I'm a chocolate guy. I don't need the other stuff.
Yeah. I'm a big chocolate guy as well. Kit Kats, Crunches, and Twix bars are my go-to. I'm not saying that's the best. I'm not saying that's the best Halloween candy, but those are my favorites. Like, if I get those in my bag, I'm freaking out.
Dude, it's Reese's. It's just simply Reese's. It's just the best.
I'm not a Reese's guy.
That's a technical foul. I'm not even going to confer with the coaches. That's a technical foul.
That was our fastest tech of all time.
That's the worst tech I've ever seen. Like, that's egregious. And
I just think peanut butter should be its own thing, and chocolate should be its own.
You're done. You're done. You're done. You're done. You're done. That's ridiculous. You've never had a worse take than Reese's isn't good, and then doubling down on peanut butter and chocolate should be segregated. Like, what are you talking about here? I mean, this is getting terrible on the Lockdown Thunder live show. But speaking of text, you've already been teed up twice. Who are you giving a technical foul to?
Got my article linked. Hyperlink looks good. Fan runs on the court in final minutes of Nets Cavaliers, tries to get to Donovan Mitchell. This is the lamest energy I've ever seen. We're running on the basketball court during the game. There's 5 minutes left. You're teed up, and you should never double teed up, and you should never ever be allowed back in to this game or any other game. You're embarrassing. Don't do it.
That's a technical foul.
And Coach K, I'm voting for you to get a tech for saying that Reese's isn't bad. That's such a backhanded compliment. It's not bad. Reese's is wonderful. I'm not going to tee you up, but watch it because I'm not going to
have consensus, and I'm not good getting there with you.
Just to tee up a coach, I'm not going to get the consensus, but just know I've given you a sideline warning. Now, what my zebra partner does walking past your sideline saying, "Oh, forget about it. I can't control that." But me personally, I've given you a warning. Watch yourself. Talking about Reese's, that's just all right. Reese's is incredible. My technical foul is the SGA free throw discourse starting again.
That's a technical foul.
And it's a technical foul on all sides. Everyone gets a technical foul for this, whether you are participating in pushing this narrative forward that he's just a free throw merchant, or whether you're battling against it. Just ignore it. It doesn't matter. Like, you're not going to change anybody's mind, folks. I hate to break it to you. I know this is Lockdown Thunder. I know that you're all diehard Thunder fans. I know that you all love SGA for good reason. Nobody who believes SGA is a free throw merchant, first of all, very few of them genuinely believe that. They're being disingenuous and they're just saying it to get you mad. Secondly, there's nothing that you can present to them to change their mind. So quit engaging with it, because part of why this keeps happening is because it keeps generating engagement. You keep going into the well. You keep defending it. It is what it is. Is it annoying? Yes. Are they wrong? Absolutely. But it's not going to change your life, your day, your month, or your year about some Spurs reporter tweeting out about how the Thunder star point guard's a free throw merchant. Okay, sure. Guess what? He gets to the free throw line a lot. Okay, cool. I'd much rather have on my favorite team, if you're a Thunder fan, a guy who goes to the free throw line, gets easy points, drops 50 points, wins you a title, and has you on a 3-0 track record right now in this season. I'm comfortable with it. However he does it, hook or by crook, get it done, go find a way to win. That's what it's all about. Shai does that. Shai's the MVP. Shai's won everything you can win. It is what it is, man. Just let it go on all sides.
I agree. No added info from me. Can I try to redeem myself real quick on the Reese's take? I will say, and this may be a bad take as well, but I'm at least going to say some admiration for Reese's. The little ones, I think the ratio is a lot better. I'm extremely pro mini Reese's over the big Reese's because I think a little more chocolate opposed to peanut butter. In the big ones, it's a lot more peanut butter, a little more chocolate. Really like a mini Reese's.
That's a good take. That's a good take from Derek Parker. He's back on track. Go find him at DParkOK. Find both of us at the OKC Dream Team Patreon podcast. Go find Derek at Derek-Parker on YouTube, and both of us at ThunderOnSI.com. Derek will be back Thursday, 2 p.m. Central Time on Lockdown Thunder Live. Until then, be good and be good to one another.